Welcome back, guys. Another episode of the Jock Talk podcast. We got Matt, we got Brock, we got your 4-0 Green Bay
Yes, sir.
Packers. Let's
Yes,
go.
sir.
Hell of a game, Brock.
Yes. Welcome back, Matt.
Yeah, yep. Had to miss it. Some conflicting schedules went on, but here I am, better than ever. Not gonna let working way too many hours bring me down. Packers would have lost, it would have just added salt to the wound, kick me while I'm down. But Packers don't lose
Yet.
yet.
We hopefully
Well,
won't.
we're gonna be 4-0 for another week at least. So
Yes, sir.
Packers on a bye week this week. It's always one of the Debbie Downer moments. Packers get rolling, especially when they're playing well, and we get a bye week. No Badgers football.
But we did need it. We needed this bye week.
Yes.
I mean, with all the injuries, Tay, Kenny, Lazard, Rashawn,
Kevin
and then
King.
Everybody else in between too. I mean,
Yep.
even Aaron Rodgers got banged up at the end of the game. So I don't like early buys, but we needed it because I don't think we could have gone another 2 weeks with these injuries and just the way it's been going throughout the league, just to keep stockpiling the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, from all sounds of things, if the Packers were playing this Sunday, it sounds like they would probably have at least payback. Kenny really haven't heard probably Kenny back, but who knows? Having King, Chris Barnes, I believe, was left the game against the Falcons and didn't come back in. There were some rumors about that the Packers were bringing in veteran defensive lineman Snacks Harrison, but he was signed to the Seahawks practice squad this morning. So there goes that. But, we have Kenny hopefully coming back, the defensive line played pretty well this past week. Todd Gurley had a couple of just really nice vision runs. And there was some more poor tackling from the Packers that let him, take a 2 or 3 yard loss and get back to line of scrimmage, or take a 2 or 3 yard run and get 15 or 20 and touchdown there at the end. So I think Kenny, what Snacks would have added. Obviously he would have played a different position, but overall, Brock, me and you thought it was both going to be a lower scoring game. Overall, I think probably lower scoring than what like the Vegas lines had it, and what like the professionals thought it was going to be. 30-16 game. Packers started off hot. We talked about that last week that against the Saints, that they couldn't start off slow, and they were pretty good then. They carried it over to this week. 2 possessions, I believe, 2 touchdowns. The first one off to Aaron Jones, which was nice. With my prediction was Aaron Jones 120 plus total, just short of that, but he still had a really good, effective game. And I know your guy Jamal, spelled him quite a bit.
I mean, we needed a lot of help, especially with everybody out. We had our highest drafted player was a 4th rounder, and Tyler Irvin and Jamal. It's like, so they had to step this week because of the fact that all the injuries that were going on, and to see all these young kids step up. Even Malik Taylor, yes, it was only 1 catch, but I mean, Darius Shepard,
big one.
Yeah, big. I mean, that was a big call in the game when it's 4th and 2. Dan Quinn uses a timeout, and Rodgers gives that look to Matt LaFleur, and they both give a little head nod. That's the kind of aggressiveness that I love to see. I know you love to see it as well.
Oh,
I think
for sure.
Packers fans in general. I mean, especially when we get the ball after halftime, and you see us go for it on 4th and 2 from our own 33-ish, whatever it was. But to be that aggressive and trying to put the nail in the coffin that early, it's just a very pleasant sight to see. And I mean, maybe that's why we predicted a lower scoring game, because we're used to just, let's slow it down. Let's play their game. No, Matt LaFleur is playing Green Bay Packer football and the way he wants to play it. So get ready, Packer fans. We got a new era of aggressiveness, I think, that we're going to see. And I think ultimately that's going to help us and Aaron Rodgers and our defense and how we play each game. It's going to be it's a pleasant sight to see. I will say that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's that combination of smart and aggressive. There's still times throughout the game where we just realize, what are they doing? When they're playing soft prevent defense at the end of the game, even though it's only a 2 touchdown game with 8 minutes left. It's still more than enough time. But like you said, the aggressiveness, and I think that's NFL round right now. There's a lot of going for it on fourth downs.
I mean, look at that 18-play drive or 19-play drive. I mean, they had to convert 2 or 3 fourth downs.
Yep.
Like, that one could have broke us, honestly.
Yeah.
That could have broke the defense, but they stepped up and forced a field goal on that. That is a win on that drive.
For sure.
That long of a drive, like, we were just sitting there like, we got to make a stop here. First down. Got to make a stop here. First down. And it was just kept going. I mean, give it to the Falcons. It was a very good drive, but you got to cap those off with touchdowns. You got to
get 6, yeah.
Yeah, you can't settle for field goals. So, a big win by our defense on that possession.
Yeah, I took a nap. Felt like I was asleep for about an hour or so, and the Falcons still had the ball when I woke up. So I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" But yeah, I mean, like I said, going for it on fourth down is up around the league. Offenses are way ahead of defenses at this point. Look at all of the big scoring games. Look at the massive outputs by quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, we were talking before the show, he's averaging 400 yards a game, which for the people who are saying, oh, I'm not impressed, like, come on. He's averaging 400 yards a game in the NFL. It's impressive. Yeah. Yes. Is he throwing the ball 60 times a game to make it easier? Yes, but come on. Saying it's not impressive is just straight up ignorant. So let's be real. But, looking at Aaron Rodgers, without his number one, all-pro caliber wide receiver, in Devontae, without a blocking tight end more so, but a guy who leaks out sometimes in Mercedes Lewis, without his breakout wide receiver from last week in Alan Lazard, he still goes 27 of 33, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Yeah, he could have had one. But
yeah. That's the big thing. I mean, everybody's talking about MVP race after the first quarter of the season. It's Russell Wilson. It's Aaron Rodgers. You throw Josh Allen in there. Even Dak, he has 1,600 yards. He has 1,600 yards. Yes, they're 1-3. They're 1-3, but he's playing well. Josh Allen 4-0, playing well. I mean, I think the big thing, Rodgers is the leader right now, in my opinion. Maybe it's biased, maybe it's not.
What's biased?
But I mean, he hasn't turned over the ball at all. I think that sets it apart. Josh Allen has turned over the ball. Russell Wilson has turned over the ball. And that leads to points for the other team. And honestly, I think the Green Bay Packers, have played the most consistent football of any team so far. If you look at the Chiefs, they squeaked one out against Justin Herbert.
Yep.
And the Chargers. They had no business winning that game.
Not at all.
They didn't play well last week against the Patriots. I mean, you played Stidham and Brian Hoyer. And you needed like 3 picks and a pick 6 that should have never happened because Julian Edelman
straight up dropped.
ate popcorn before the game and just like you take that away, it's barely a 2-possession game. The Chiefs aren't playing well. Seahawks struggled against the Miami Dolphins. Like the Bills, they've struggled so far this season as well in certain games. Like the Packers, I mean, the Vikings are a good team. That was our biggest, but it's first game of the season. You don't really know what to expect, but we're averaging over 35 points a game. Offense is playing terrific with limited players. And defense is playing good enough. It's not great. We played good enough.
Aaron Rodgers was he had a quote that the defense won them 2 or 3 games last year, so the offense is just picking them up for last year until they get everything back on track.
Yeah, I mean, having Kirksey out definitely is going to hurt. Being banged up on the defensive line hurts, but I think once the bye week came at a perfect time this year. Like I said earlier, I don't like the earlier buys, but it came at a perfect time.
Especially with this year and everything that's going on. Like, what happens if 2 weeks from now, and preface this by saying none of this is political. If you take this as a political statement, go fuck yourself. If COVID strikes and the Packers, get 4, 5, 6 positive tests or put on COVID reserve list, which means they came into contact with someone or the person their team they're supposed to face in 2 or 3 weeks happens. What happens? What happens if the Packers at the end of the year have a first round bye, but they have to play an extra week at the end of the season because they didn't play 16 games? You lose that advantage. Obviously, it's one of those things where, yes, we're looking too far out, but in this year specifically, having that early bye just comes to potentially bite you even more so. So,
I have a quick question for you. This is in sports in general. Is this an easier year in sports to win or a harder year in sports to win? Because to me, I feel like it's a lot harder because every game counts. You never know what's going to happen. There's no fans. There's no advantage towards anybody. And I feel like the younger you are in these bigger games, I mean, we're looking at it in the NBA Finals. Could the Miami Heat win at home? Absolutely. But this isn't the experience that they'll get. Say, oh, do I have NBA Finals experience? Not really.
Yeah, see, that's where we disagree. But let me answer the question as a whole first. The answer is that there is no good answer. Did sports being away for 4 months benefit teams? Did it benefit the Lakers? Absolutely, because LeBron's 150 years old, and he took some of his voodoo magic or whatever he does to be the second best player in the NBA right now. And did that rest help him? Absolutely. Did that rest hurt, say, the Bucks and some of those other teams who were more focused on just that teamwork, the passing and gelling, and home court advantage as a whole? Obviously, every team rises up to the occasion for home court. Do the Raptors lose in the second round if it's not for home court? Or if they had home court, who knows? Do the Bucks go out in the second round if they had home court? Who knows? Same thing in MLB. Look at Clayton Kershaw. He had 12 strikeouts against the Brewers about a week ago in their wild card matchup. The Brewers weren't really going anywhere anyways, but Clayton Kershaw's been a player who notoriously struggles in the postseason. He's been able to take off a lot of this season and take this season slower because it's only a 60-game season. So does it make it harder? Yes. Does it benefit some teams? Yes. But I don't think that, say, Tyler Hero, for example, when we're talking about him in 2 or 3 years, if the Heat get back to another finals, like, oh, this guy has finals experience. I think absolutely you can credit this as finals experience.
Well, finals experience, but it's not the finals atmosphere. You don't know what it's like to go to LA and see those fans. Like, say they go back in 2 to 3 years and they're facing the Houston Rockets. You go into Houston and you got to face fans. It's different. It is different. Like, you're facing the competition. Yes, you're facing LeBron because LeBron's been there at the peak of competition in Golden State.
Yeah,
he knows what it's like with sound. There ain't no sound here. Joe Schmo isn't cursing you out for a missed shot, or if like you airball, the crowd's not getting in your ear. They're, especially as a young player, you feed off the confidence and the highest of highs and lowest of lows. If the fans boo you and just berate you on every missed shot, what does that do mentally? Without the fans there, it is very different. It is very different because the fact that there is no fan interference, because it is quieter. You can't say it's not, though.
That's what separates the best of the best. LeBron to the good, but not great, but not Hall of Fame. I can't even say that. James Harden's a Hall of Famer. That's what separates the LeBrons and the James Hardens. And let me just, Tyler Hero has some big balls. Tyler Hero is going to be
don't get me
fine
wrong.
just imagine
He
Miami goes to
lights.
Golden State next season. Their new arena is hopping. It's going to be just as loud as it would be if it were the finals.
Well, yes.
The atmosphere is not going to be there, and the fact that it's the finals, but he'll have that experience. But we're getting sidetracked a little bit. But everything going on, it helps, it hurts. Some teams benefit from everything going on. I think football's a little bit different, where everybody is more on that level. I can't even say that, because some teams have the Miami Dolphins just announced that their governor said, go ahead if you want your full 65,000 fans, you're good. They still plan to keep it around 13,000, so probably smart. But yeah, I think
I find it's hard. I think it's easier. And it's easier for like the young players right now, especially like the rookies. You don't have to face the 12th man, especially like in Seattle. You go to Seattle, if you're a rookie quarterback, say Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow go there, you don't have to face that 12th man. Your first year, if you had to face that 12th man, it's a whole different ballgame there.
So let me ask you this. Would you, as, let's say, that player's coach, or you can look at it from that player's mindset, would you have rather have had normal training camp, normal off-season, everything, all of this stuff where you don't have to worry about practicing and, getting your playbook? You have the in-person coaching. Would you rather have had that but have to go into the 12th man, or do you want this no mini camp, no off-season, but have no fans?
But, I mean, obviously you want to have that full experience, right? But so next year, say we have all the fans back, it's back to almost being a rookie again. Like, yes, you have experience under your belt, but it's the atmosphere that's totally different. Like, everybody says they go into Green Bay and it's a whole different ball game. Once you step onto that field, you're like, it's a ruckus stadium. You can't hear anything. Like, go into Minnesota. Like, winning in Minnesota, it's one of the loudest stadiums. Like,
home field advantage at Lambeau during non-winter 90 degree below zero months is overrated. Packers fans that are at Lambeau are old, quiet. Like, compare them to Minnesota. Like, Packers fans, greatest fans in the world. The fans that are at the game are old fogies who are all quiet. Like, compared to Minnesota, you can't even like Minnesota's home field advantage in terms of the noise, or Seattle's or Kansas City's compared to Green Bay.
But it's still atmosphere, though. It's still atmosphere. Like, oh, you want 20,000 decibels when it's usually 50,000 decibels?
I want loud. And the old people at Lambeau not getting it done. They need to give up their season tickets to their kids and grandkids, people who are going to make some noise. And
I mean,
like Aaron Rodgers said, lower them beer prices, drink some beer, and make some noise.
I mean, I agree with that. I'm just saying it's a whole different experience as a younger player going into these stadiums. It's gonna be like, I mean, yes, many of them have seen it in college football.
Yes,
but it's the NFL. Everybody's good, and it's just a whole different obstacle. It is the 12th man on offense or defense, and I find it to be, like you said, it's hard. It's harder in some aspects, easier in others. Like, how is Aaron Rodgers still getting the hard counts when you can hear him? Because he's smarter. Like, he could do that. That's his He's a 12th man. Aaron Rodgers is his own 12th man. So is Russell Wilson. So is all these other, but these rookies don't know yet. So it's going to be. I feel like it is harder, but it is easier for some. And for these younger teams, you can kind of see it struggling.
So we are 21 minutes into this show, and we have not brought up Big Bob, Bobby, Bobbert, Tanyan. How does it? No love for the tight ends on Jack Talk Show, apparently. 21 minutes in, and we have not brought up love? Bobby Tanyan.
Go back and watch a previous episode when somebody here, I'll say you, said we will have the best tight end bunch in the NFL.
No, I said we do have the best young tight end core in the NFL.
And it will be the best in the NFL.
Yes.
Okay.
So R.I.P. Josiah DeGuara's season and one of his knees. But Bobby Tanyan, Stern Daddy, Jay Sternberger.
You know him. They talked about it a lot on Monday Night Football. Him and
George Kittle.
George Kittle, big friends. I mean, I'm not upset with that at all. Go ahead and hang out with him every offseason.
Dollar General George Kittle. I'm pretty sure I've seen on the Twitter.
Dollar General,
the man bun and everything.
I mean, if he turns into anything that George Kittle is, sign me up.
Bobby Tanyan.
Can we sign
4 touchdowns to the New York Giants this season?
Can we sign him before he becomes George Kittle-esque? That'd be great.
That'd be pretty cool.
So I mean, give him that 4 or 5 year deal, $8 million, and call it a day.
Plus, he likes to somersault on about the 10-yard line before making touchdown passes. Not even the defense holding Bobby will stop him from catching touchdowns.
Yeah, I think seeing that was even last week, seeing the signs of Lazard. Tanyan had a great game last week too. It just went overshadowed by Lazard's big game.
And Aaron Rodgers' creepy wave followed by the creepy flex this week.
That's not creepy. That's hey, let's get him to do the belt again. Bring out the belt on the next touchdown cam, and I guarantee you Green Bay fans will erupt. Aaron
Rodgers is on to, what is his saying now? It's throwing dimes and suck it signs.
Yeah, I love it. So, I think that's one of his best things yet is to go on that Pat McAfee show every Tuesday and not give a shit about what anybody says. My down years are career years for some. Yes.
Just facts, bro.
This Aaron Rodgers, what I've heard, him and Danica are no longer a thing. So maybe now his head's right. He's having fun again. I mean, football's fun. He loves it. And if he keeps this up, I mean, we're looking at another MVP season for him and hopefully another deep run into the playoffs.
You're darn right. So, just a couple things to wrap up the week. Captain Z, 3 sacks. One of us predicted Zadarius Smith 3 sacks. So, it's not an easy thing to predict, but I was feeling it a little bit. Speaking of feeling it, fantasy 6-pack time. So it's a little bit early. I guess it's noon already. It's acceptable time to drink a beer. I don't have any present, but same difference. Beer, Powerade, but fantasy 6-pack time. Me and Brock will go over the 6 players who we think are going to bust out in fantasy this week. We have a couple of high-priced guys. So if you're thinking in terms of DFS, guys you're going to want to pay up for. We got a couple of lower-priced mid-range guys, and then we have our sleeper of the week. So with that being said, Brock, I will kick it off. Number 1 on the list in no particular order here, we have Juju Smith-Schuster. the Steelers are back this week. I believe Deontay Johnson is going to be out for the Steelers again this week. With the Steelers playing the Eagles, the Eagles have a great run defense, but their pass defense leaves something to be desired a little bit. I think Juju goes off. He's one of those mid-range priced guys. I think he has an absolute huge week. I think James Conner struggles a little bit. Who we got in up rock number 2?
I got Robbie Anderson. I mean, he's been a very consistent player for the Panthers, even with Teddy. I mean, he's putting up decent numbers. Has almost 100 yards in every game.
Yep.
Getting 5 to 6 catches a game. I mean, even with Teddy at the quarterback, over almost 400 yards. Not the big touchdown guy, but it's against Atlanta. Like we had many players be wide open. That if you go back and look at that 4th and 2 that we talked about earlier, there was 3 people open.
Yep.
We could have had a touchdown on that play. We went to Malik Taylor, which is great. It's still a great read. Any read was a good read on that play.
I mean, it helped that there was nobody within 30 yards of him.
There was nobody within 30 yards of 3 people. So for Teddy to get this, I mean, Teddy's having a solid year, almost 1,200 yards. Not the touchdown numbers you really want from him, obviously from your quarterback at all. But I think Robbie Anderson's in for a big game because, I mean, even the Falcons lost a couple secondary pieces this past game against us. So just to have them even more undermanned could be a big game.
I think the one thing for him real quick is, they've been splitting up what they would expect from McCaffrey between, their 3 receivers, between Robbie, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel. Robbie's been getting most of the attention, but even Mike Davis in the running game and the passing game has been doing enough to where the fact that they can't just, focus all their attention on the passing game with some out there. So Robbie Anderson definitely there. Another high-priced guy, one of the ones what you might be thinking, oh, well, obviously, but it's not always that obvious when you're playing DFS to go with the high-priced guys. You got to make sacrifices, different parts of your lineups. But third guy, we are going with Dalvin Cook, going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle has, for as good as they've been on offense, they've been equally bad or slightly less than equal, but they've been pretty bad on defense. Teams are passing all over them. Teams are running enough on them. Dalvin Cook's, he's a 3-down back. He's had 100 plus yards each of his last 2 games, multiple touchdowns. I believe it's 311 yards in the past 2 games. I think he continues on his roll. Obviously, must start in season-long fantasy, but I think especially FanDuel where it's half-point PPR, smash Dalvin Cook into that lineup.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. And then for number 5, we're going to go David Johnson against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars have been giving up almost 140 yards a game on the ground. Texans haven't been necessarily running the ball well, but with Romeo Crennel now in reins and not O'Brien just leaving them out to dry, it could be a resurgence of the Houston Texans maybe, and I could see Deshaun Watson getting David Johnson in the passing game as well as the running game. Their defense obviously has to step up, but Romeo Crennel, as we know, is more of a defensive guy.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll get something together for that Texan team because it's a good team. It's not bad. Bill O'Brien just ran it into the ground and just left them with nothing.
Yeah, I think the game script is there. I think the Texans defense steps up. I think JJ has a big game and it just allows them to run the ball. Next on the list, another obvious guy. Again, pay up for him, whether if it's FanDuel, DraftKings, SuperDraft, whatever. DeAndre Hopkins. He is going to absolutely ball out against the Jets. He's going to have one of those games like he did the first game of the year. 13 catches, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns kind of game for DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals have been struggling as a team these last few weeks. Kyler Murray's kind of all over the place. So I think the Cardinals are out to prove a statement. It's one of those statement games where, they need to get back on track. They might be up 32-7 and then still just keep passing the ball. So DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to be a target hound against the Jets this week. Get him in every lineup you guys got. And, when you go with those high-priced guys like a DeAndre Hopkins, you need a low-price guy. And Brock has that guy for you.
Yeah. If you look at the Thursday night matchup between the Buccaneers and Bears, I don't know who's coming out for wide receiver for the Buccaneers. Godwin's out. OJ's out. Mike Evans is out. Scotty Miller doesn't look like he might not play.
Justin Watson didn't practice.
So it's got Leonard Fournette probably not going to play.
LaShawn McCoy didn't practice.
Not going to play. It's
rough.
Rob Gronkowski was limited.
Rob Gronkowski looks like he's 140.
Yeah, he retired. He probably should have stayed retired. But that being said, another player might be ready to step up, Mr. Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson. Who is Tyler Johnson, Brock?
From Minnesota. I mean, he's a good-sized wide receiver. I mean, Brady has no targets. So if I had to guess, Scotty Miller probably will play. But still, he's going to be probably then your number 2 or 3 because, I mean, you want to throw Cameron Brate in there as well. But Tyler Johnson could get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 targets. Who knows? The Bears have been pretty decent on really good on defense. Their offense is Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky. Who do you want? Who's worse?
Yep.
But I think it's a boom or a bust thing. So I mean, at DraftKings, he's 3,000. I can't expect him to be much more in FanDuel. So at that price range, he gets you 8 points. It's a win.
So Tyler Johnson, 5th-round pick from, like Brock said, Minnesota. Minnesota, not necessarily known to be a high-volume passing attack or high.
It's a wide receiver I looked at in the draft.
Yep, he's the 5th-round pick in Minnesota school ranks, 2nd in receptions, and he's 1st in yards, 100-yard games, and touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he has big playability. He has, just that possession receiver availability. He's a big kid. He's just over 6'1". So, for 3,000, when 8 of your top 10 options are, looking rough, why not?
Yeah, for sure.
So, we have our fantasy 6-pack. Last week, Brock, I believe you went 1-2 in our weekly picks.
Yeah, not a great one.
I went 2-1. The Lions, started off the game really well, ended the game really well, but there's that whole little middle part where the Saints scored 35 points in between. So,
yeah, if you look past that, they did pretty well.
Yeah. Just other than that, not too bad. So, our picks for this week, Brock. We went over them pre-show to make sure we didn't have any of the same. There's been too much of this crap in the past where me and Brock, don't talk pre-show just to surprise, and we have the exact same picks. So no more of that. Number 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by the big game from Juju Smith-Schuster, guaranteed win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Book it in.
My number 1 pick for this week maybe not number one pick, but it's one of my picks. After the firing of Bill O'Brien, I feel like the Texans come out hot and resurgence, and I think they take care of business versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
There we go. My second guarantee of the week. Sam Darnold looked okay last week for the Jets on Thursday Night Football. He had that one really nice long run. And he looked good. Jamison Crowder was back for the Jets. They had a little bit of a connection. But Sam Darnold is now hurt. Do you know who the Jets' backup quarterback is?
Yeah.
Joe Flacco. When in doubt, pick the team who goes up against the team who has Joe Flacco as their starting quarterback. Arizona Cardinals win by at least 2 touchdowns over the Jets. At least.
Kyler hasn't looked very good the last couple weeks.
He has not. He's been, check down Teddy on the stat sheets. DeAndre Hopkins has a big game. One thing I will say, fade Kenyon Drake. If you're going to start an Arizona Cardinal running back, let it be Chase Edmonds. You're welcome in advance.
True. He's also a little bit banged up. So,
yeah.
My second lock of the week, I think it's a little bit easier pick, is the Cowboys over the Giants. The Giants haven't played well at all. Cowboys they put up points. So I don't know if the Cowboys can, or if the Giants can keep up with that offensive onslaught that the Cowboys will do to them.
Let me ask you this, Brock. I know you're not a guy who's too proud to admit when he's wrong or to sacrifice you being right for the greater good of what you want. So, would you rather be right and the Cowboys beat the Giants, or would you rather be wrong and see the Giants beat the Cowboys so you can laugh at all of those?
Oh, I would rather see the Giants win.
Okay.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
They've scored 3 touchdowns this year.
Yeah. And the Cowboys score like 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes sometimes. So
Yep. Only when they're already down by 4 touchdowns, though.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Darius Slayton throws a fucking frozen rope touchdown to Golden Tate this week or something.
Good. You never know.
Jarvis hit OBJ on a just dime. Just
he really wound up on it, but it was. I don't think it went above the camera angle.
Yeah.
It just.
Maybe Golden Tate's done getting beat up by Jalen Ramsey after games. Who knows?
That's what he get. Golden Tate has some beef with him. I don't know if you know the story behind it.
Oh yeah.
Oof. But Golden Tate, I mean, he should go after Jalen Ramsey, but he probably shouldn't get his ass
pick on someone his own size.
Maybe a little bit. But that being said, upset picks of the week. Matt, who you got?
Panthers over Falcons. Falcons suck.
That's
Panthers suck, but not as bad.
I'm going a little bit more out there. I'm going Chargers over the Saints, Monday Night Football. Hopefully, if Michael Thomas is out again, I expect a big win from that old Justin Herbert.
Yeah. And then you mentioned it, but looking more and more likely that the game is going to be moved. Thanks to more than likely it would be to Indy. Couldn't think of the word moved for some reason, but
tough one.
Hurricane Delta. So it looks like it's going to force the game to be moved more than likely to Indy. But so there it is, Brock. You have Texans over Jags. You have the Cowboys over the Giants, and then you have the Chargers over the Saints. I have Steelers over Eagles, Cardinals over Jets, Panthers over Falcons. Rounding it out, top 5.
What we got this week?
This week, top 5 favorite sports movies of all time. Taking it out of the box a little bit for you guys. Starting it off, Brock, we'll start off at number 5. My number 5, Coach Carter. Just a classic movie. Samuel L. Old Channing Tatum. Just a good movie. Overall, it's one of those that it's already 14, 15 years old. So it's kind of a classic that's stuck with me. So Coach Carter, my number 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit newer. My number 5 is Moneyball. I think it's I just like to see that side of baseball. It's not always about power, get on base. If your bat average on base percentage, all that different percentages adds up. I mean, that's all that matters. Is take risks on lower quality players, and it ends up paying off. I just to see that side of baseball. I think a lot of people need to see that movie.
My number 4, again, about 14, 15 years old, and it is one of the newest movies on my list, Invincible, the Vince Papale story. I remember getting the movie for Christmas when it came out on DVD. Yes, kids, there's things called DVDs. Not everything is digital nowadays. Yeah, but Vince Papale, bartender working for, and then ended up open tryout for the Jets. Made a big special teams play once. Mark Wahlberg, absolute tank of a human being, but just a good movie. Favorite thing about the movie is when they show the real life people after the movie and what they compare to the actors. Pretty cool to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it was in my thought. It's definitely in my top 10, but not my top 5. Side note, I can't wait till they make a movie about Mr. Kurt Warner. That'd be a great movie. I feel like
grocery store to arena to NFL.
To NFL. Someone make it happen. Your director friends can handle that.
Yep.
My number 4, no explanation needed. You already said it. Coach Carter, one of the classic movies, basketball, everything you want in a sports movie is. I think it's right there.
My number 3 is my second basketball movie in my top 5. The remake is coming out. Everything about it. But my number 3, Space Jam.
Yeah, classic.
It doesn't get any better than that. Like every time it's on TV, I can't flip the channel. It just stays on. Everything from the Monstars to Bugs to the underrated, Tasmanian Devil.
Yep.
So, Space Jam, my number 3.
Well, I'm gonna be right there with you then with Space Jam at number 3.
Favorite part of Space Jam.
I mean, it's tough.
All right, I'll go first then. My favorite part.
The outreach Michael arm. I mean,
Okay.
That's a good one.
Mine gives me goosebumps when they're flying back to the field for his last game, and all of a sudden it was his name, Wayne Knight, the big fat, his protector or whatever. And just, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jordan, and he starts playing "I Believe I Can Fly," and he's walking down off to just
classic, all time.
Number 2 is my second baseball movie on my list. My number 2 is more like a 1A and 1B, but when I was about 12 years old, I watched this movie probably 6 times a day. I could lip and say every single word to it. My number 2, the remakes suck, the sequels suck. The original is my second favorite movie of all time. It's The Sandlot.
I definitely thought that was going to be your number 1. But nope. I mean, it's a classic. But for me, my number 2, Remember the Titans. It's an all-time classic football movie. I mean, uplifting and just the story. I mean, you can't go wrong with Remember the Titans.
My number one is Remember the Titans. Just like great movie all around. Leave no doubt.
Yeah.
Make them remember forever the night they played the Titans. Goosebumps.
It's a great movie.
Remember the Tits, my number one.
This is going a little out of the box. Maybe it shouldn't be my number one now, looking at the whole list over again and remembering the whole thing, because this is a newer movie. I love the storyline. I loved everything about it. Maybe I'm just off the hype. Southpaw is a great movie, great boxing movie, great story. It's just, I don't know what it was about it, but I was connected from beginning to end. Maybe it's because I'm a little older and I'm a little more in tune with more aggressive movies. I don't know. Maybe it's not as nostalgic as all those movies, but Southpaw is what the first time I saw the movie, like I watched it like 14 times in a row. It something about it, I just loved it, and I bought it on DVD, Blu-ray, everything, and just kept it going.
Honorable mention here, Brock.
Oh, I got mine.
Can't believe we didn't put it on there. We tried to go more of a serious note.
I think we both got it.
One of the greatest actors.
Oh, easy.
Of our generation.
Easily.
Andrew Dick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Division 3's finest.
Football's finest. Shout out to our good friend Jake Sussex for showing me that movie. I don't know. That is one of the greatest movies of all time. I just randomly found it on DVD, bought it, and just is what if you haven't watched
every time?
If you have not watched it, go watch it.
Every time.
I don't know where it is, but go watch it. It is one of the funniest movies to us, at least. Maybe we're just a little weird, but I mean, maybe next time we'll do the top 5 comedy sports movies, because I mean, you could throw Happy Gilmore in there. You could throw
Ricky Bobby, Talladega
Bobby, Semi-Pro. Like, there's Dodgeball. There's your top 5 right there. Shit, like, but
yep.
That being said,
that's gonna do it.
A little longer show this week, but we probably won't be here next week or until a little bit later next week, because our Green Bay Packers have a bye, so you won't be seeing us for a little bit. So a little longer episode so you guys can get your fix of us.
Tell the Falcons out there where they can find us on social medias, Brock.
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We'll have all the descriptions right after this. Before the episode, you already seen it. After this episode, you'll see it. We'll put it in the description. Like this video, share this video. Anything else you think of, Matt?
Go Pack, go.
That's all you need to know.